Yo, everybody, welcome back to the Improvement Season podcast with your boys, Magic Mike and Swole Steve. We are back for another week. Steve, how you doing?
I forgot about Swole Steve. I don't know how I feel about Swole Steve. As I was just saying to you off air, not feeling the best today. And dude, this happens to me every time. And I hate it because we talk about being resilient and I feel so not resilient right now. But every time my routine is knocked, I just don't feel like something just feels off. So today I had to take Ada into the vets so I can give a bit of an update on her. But that meant basically I was left the house at like 7:30 to get there in the morning, which normally that's not how my routine goes. And then it's just like that commute. I don't know how people commute every single day to work, especially like if you have to get the underground, for example. It's just a bit of an unpleasant experience. I'm sure you get used to it, but I'm so blessed to not have a commute or anything like that, to be honest. But anyway, so do all of that. Inevitably, it shifts my day back because it ends up taking 2-3 hours out of my morning, which I normally would have. So as you said, kind of puts you on the back foot. So we'll talk about you being on the back foot. And so then I'm like, right, my training is delayed. I do that like 2 hours later. So everything shifted 2 hours later. So at this point, I've normally eaten 3 meals and I've got my third meal, like I'll eat it at like 6. And then it's like, oh no, it's going to push my sleep time back. And I need to be up early tomorrow because I've got an exciting chat tomorrow, which I can't say too much about now, but I've got an exciting chat in the morning tomorrow. But I also, at times like this, I think I don't know if I help myself or harm myself, but I had 2 monsters. So I inflated my caffeine intake to try and like help kind of get through things. I don't know if that's giving me a headache or what, but I just feel rotten. And I think I was also just after the gym, I came home and I went to the bathroom and I was like, wow, I'm dehydrated. I guess I was out of routine, so I wasn't doing my usual front loading of fluids. I have like this 750 ml bottle here, and I usually get through like 2 of those. But as I'm commuting and everything, like I didn't have that with me. I didn't want to have to carry stuff around, and also don't want to have to pee all the time. You know what I'm like, Mike.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just I don't know where the headaches come from. I don't know what it's driven by, but I'm hoping I'll just feel better once like I've done work for today and can kind of chill out for the evening and stuff. But I just hope I'm not getting a cold. There's like this super cold going around as well. I don't know if you've heard about it, but so many people are getting sick. We actually were meant to go to my parents this past weekend for like our delayed Christmas, but they've all been sick. My sister was like with chills in bed sick, and we're just like, hey, we don't want to get sick. We're delayed coming around, so it should be this weekend coming, or it's going to be a bit weird when people listen to this, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, that's how my day's going. So training was good. Like when you go into the gym with a bit of a headache, it's never great, but it didn't get worse. And I was still able to bring the intensity and have a good workout, which was great. But yeah, it's just thrown my day a little bit, which is frustrating, but creatures of habit.
Do you know what, as you were saying that, it really kind of brings to mind, like, these are one of those days where you've got to give yourself grace because like you've had such a full-on day today with everything going on. And I was just thinking, like, so much of that is like combination of everything. You're off your routine, the stress of travel, and just everything that you've mentioned. Meals being thrown off a little bit, dehydrated, like all of that stuff. It's just stress is stress, as you always tell me, right? And so it's just impacting you, but you've just got to be like, hey, got to do what I can do. But then just, just be kind to yourself, let that kind of chill in the evening, and then just hope that it's all good tomorrow. And even if it's not, we're not going to die, it's all going to be all right in the end, so it's kind of like, that's what we got to keep telling ourselves, I feel.
For sure. Yeah, I think it makes me wonder. I'm like, am I so aware of not feeling the best because I'm used to feeling so good, and so I'm not used to these kind of disruptions to my routine and how I feel? It's like if you're really used to getting good sleep, when you don't get great sleep, you really notice it. But when you're consistently not getting great sleep, it's like, well, that's how I always feel. So I kind of sometimes wonder that, and it makes me wonder how people with kind of tumultuous changes in their lifestyle like really do bodybuilding well, because I even think about it, and another phrase I like is, for every gimme, there's a gotcha. So when I have a vlog coming out soon, actually all about deloads, which I think people will really like. Hopefully, it's like a. The funny thing is, I'm so used to long form content and talking like for extended periods of time. I always joke to Stephen, I'm like, hey, I turn this into like a podcast episode. Basically, it's like a podcast vlog. It's over 30 minutes long. There's quite a bit of talking in it, but where was I going with that? So I get that really great outcome. I get the reels from it. I get some images and everything, but doing it takes from me. And my session takes, I can't remember how long, but it maybe took an extra hour to how it normally would take. And it's just, like I said, for every gimme, there's a gotcha. So I actually don't know. And maybe they get used to it. Similar, like I said, if you're commuting and everything, you kind of get used to it, you adapt to it. But, there's those influencers who basically have like videographers filming, I don't know, every workout, and they're constantly on. Especially when you're like this too, Mike. Training is your time. It's like almost our meditation in some ways, and our mental stress relief. So when that gets taken away, it's like, where do I get that from now? But anyway, it's all good stuff. And similarly with Ada, like I'll give a brief update on her. Bloods are the best they've been. Scan was the best it's been. They basically were like, we can't call it officially remission because we can't get a biopsy of the I guess, the abnormality within her stomach. But, like, she's as close to remission as what she could be. So pleased to kind of hear that. She's not here at the moment. Charlotte's picking her up a bit later, but she's had her final round of this chemo, which, unfortunately, this chemo is the one that causes her to lose her hair, but it's the one, it seems to really be working well. So she might even thin her hair even further, which isn't great when it's been as cold as it is. But regardless, she's in a great spot. But yeah, anyway, how have things been on your end? It sounds like you've been chasing your tail. You've been busy.
Yeah, and do you know what? Firstly, I just want to end on like, that's such amazing news as well. Like so good. But
can I just say, sorry, Mike?
Yeah.
On that, we were told that she was terminal and that we had a short period of time with her left. But I just had this almost, not unrealistic, I still kept realistic expectations, but like this data boyo, believe it sort of mentality of just like, hey, growth mindset, she could do well from this, and just trusted the process and went with it and didn't kind of doubt. And it just reminded me of so many people that are always like, oh, how much muscle can I gain in this time? Or like, what's my stage weight going to be? Or whatever it is. It's like, hey, just kind of embrace the process. Or I've met my natty limit. It's like, hey, if you just trust the process, you never know where you might come. Whereas if we were told, hey, she's terminal, so it's like, maybe don't even try the treatment. She could have been gone last year. She might not have survived this long. So it's like, if you give up too soon, you might not even know what the outcomes could be. It's like having that positive mindset is just so important. Anyway, I need to do like a post on it, I think.
Massively. And I can't remember the exact quote. Bruce Lee said talked something along this lines, but it is something like, don't put limits on yourself. So it's like, hey, exactly what you just said. Stick to the process. Don't put a limit on yourself, and just whatever happens to a certain degree. And I'm all about that. It's like not being devastated if something doesn't come to fruition, but equally being open to what might happen and what's possible.
Yeah. It's almost, I always just say, if you've done your best, you got your best. And you can't be sad about that.
You put the value on the effort rather than the outcome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Give us an update on your end.
Yeah. And so I said to you before we went on air, I've just had a day where I've just felt like I've been chasing my tail a little bit. And it's not, I don't think I've been busier, but it's just, I think the small things today have added up where, and these are all good things, right? So it's just things like, having a consultation booked in, but then you kind of lose a pocket of time. And then this microphone has been really temperamental. So I recorded some client check-ins, and then the sound cuts out halfway through the video. So it's like starts off as normal and then it has no sound. So I've got to re-record the entire thing. And I do that 3 or 4 times today. And it's like, then that's like another hour or so. And it's like, you know. So it's just stuff like that, and but we're making it through. That's all that matters.
I hate technical issues like that. And that's, yeah, I've done it so many times. We use OBS to record, and you can see when your sound's okay because the bars move, but sometimes it just disconnects for whatever reason. And you have no feedback to know if you don't check that bar. And the number of times I've not checked, I'm like, okay, I check every time. I know you check every time, but you don't, once it's recording, you don't check that screen to make sure it's continued to record. So do you think, was it like connection of things, or was it actually the microphone's got a problem?
I feel like the microphone's got a problem because sometimes I might do something like I brush it and it disconnects, or it just disconnects. I feel like I have dropped the microphone a couple of times, and so I do wonder whether something's a bit funny with it.
It's a bit fragile, yeah.
So I might get a new microphone.
You might have to get. Don't know if they still sell this one, but this one, it's been great. I've considered upgrading, but just been like, why? People, I've never had any complaints about my microphone. Only people have reached out to me like, what microphone is that? I'm like, it's super old and it wasn't that expensive anymore. But so maybe you'll end up getting this one. But a boom arm, what I've got here, what it's attached to, it's so helpful that you don't hit it and it doesn't get in the way. Like sometimes I've like hit it by accident, but it doesn't disrupt it in the same way. So yeah, I can't think what your set. I need to visit you at home and get an idea of what your setup is. But I don't know if you've got a desk that you can attach a boom arm to.
I think so. It's just like it's a smaller desk than yours, but it's a electronic standing desk.
Okay, yeah. You'll be able to attach it to the desk and then like come out. So maybe I'll link you up. But this is just a Rode. I don't know what one it is, but this one's done me great. And the issue I had with it initially was every time, because this microphone's not very heavy, so I bring it here and then it would just slowly like creep up like that. But you just have to tighten the bolts, I realized, and it stays in place. The only downside is this microphone is USB, and the wire. Actually, I just need to buy a new wire. But anyway, the wire it came with is not very long, so if I move this arm too much one way, it like moves my entire desktop, which isn't ideal. Anyway, I digress. But I can totally see how those little things add up, and you've got less time.
Yeah, but it's like you said. I think even as I was saying it to you, I'm like, I probably just need to give myself a bit of grace today. I'm doing my best. It'll be fine. It's just one of those days. Nothing to kind of stress out about. But still, it's never a nice feeling like you're chasing your tail and you're always that little bit behind. But you just got to kind of like breathe and be like, okay, it's fine. Stay calm. It's all good.
I'm always, at times like that, it reminds me of how you can get so much done. What's that? I forgot what there's a law for this, isn't there? Where it's a sense of whatever amount of time you have, you'll get it done in that time. I've forgotten what the name of it is, but it's a great one. And it's very true. Where if you've got 8 hours, the same task, you'll do it in 8 hours. Whereas if you've got 4, you'll do it in 4. So it always reminds me of that, how much you can really get done in a short period of time. And it always feels like, I don't know, sometimes like I have clients who check in on regular timings, but somehow it lands where someone will check in early, someone will check in a bit late. And then I'm like, oh, the day when I haven't got any time, everyone's like checking in and wanting me. And then I feel a personal responsibility to get back. It's like, hey, if they're late, then you can get back late. Or if they're early, they're early. But you're probably the same way, Mike, where it's like, if it's there, it's like, it needs to be done. I sometimes get better at leaving it, but I'm not great at that. Any other updates on you? I think from last time I spoke to you, which was not long ago, a couple of days, was upper body is not flying, but it's getting there.
Yeah, I feel like there's been, again, a noticeable improvement both from last week and I guess the last couple of weeks. So what I noticed last week and the week before is I have to really be conscious of how to set it up or set my shoulder. Like it has to be in a really specific position to then feel comfortable to then press it and move it. Whereas I found this week, like I'm really not having to spend as much time doing that. It's not needing as much to feel comfortable, and it just feels so much easier just moving about, pressing it. So again, it just feels like there's a notable uptick in how it's feeling and performing, and the strength on all my lifts are going up for the left side. So, and it's all neurological because, I can see that, my reps have increased by like 2 or something from last week. So again, I can see there's just that clear improvement, but it's just really nice. It's nice
Yeah.
to see that improvement, but it still makes me feel really like, right, I do not want to fuck this up. So I'm being really diligent with my processes and making sure that I'm not doing anything that could hamper that and push me
Yeah.
back.
It's the best way to be. It's the worst is, I don't know why humans are like this, but it's like if something's wrong, and what am I trying to say? It's like when you come back from sickness or injury or something, then it's like balls to the wall. I need to regain all the time I've lost. It's like, no, you need to ease yourself in. Or it's like, if I'm sick or not sick, if I'm injured in my legs and I can't do that, how can I be productive? I'll train my upper body and I'll diet. It's like, well, why would you diet now? This is not the time to diet. It's like you just have to like swallow your pride a little bit and just be like, I have to accept where I'm at right now, give my body exactly what it needs and not more. It's, I guess, easy one is post deload or post kind of reduction in fatigue. It's like, don't suddenly jump straight in like balls to the wall. Like, give your body the appropriate dose for what it needs at the time, which is typically less, and then you can start pushing. And that's so good. That's great news. I'm really happy for you. I can't imagine like thinking in a month's time where you might be. And then we have the opportunity to go through a bit of a specialization phase, which we've already spoken about, which I guess for the listeners, because they might be interested, you're doing like a push-pull repeat 6 times a week. So full body every day, but push-pull. And we put legs first and then upper body second to emphasize legs because, hey, like the upper body can't quite take it. And we're essentially just, you said actually in your check-in, and then I thought it through. I was like, it makes complete sense. Just flip it on its head. Put legs last, put them at a like MEV sort of dose, which I think you could do so little each time. We could even have some days where you could decide, hey, we'll just drop any leg training on some days and just have full upper body. We can kind of see it, take it as it comes, and then, spread that upper body love over 6 days a week. And just, I can't wait to see the change, in fact, because you took some check-in photos recently and it was very evident to me. As soon as I opened it, I was like, holy quads, holy thighs. And it wasn't because your upper body had shrunk, so they were so much more impressive. It was like, no. Like the upper body looks pretty much where it's been. The legs really improved. So to then maintain all of that, if not continue to grow it, and then bring the upper body to match it, like it's, going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah, it's going to be real fun times. But yeah, so I think hopefully a month again, just it's all about just staying in the here and now. Like I've got that little treat to look forward to, but just got to stay diligent now, and it will come before I know it.
I have a few very little updates, and then we can get to some questions, I think.
Yeah.
One of my updates, the TFL strain. Yeah. So that it's still there, but by no means, it hasn't been getting worse after training sessions at all. So I think it's slowly going. I have a slight concern, Mike, that I think it was maybe was it about a month ago now? I think it was. When I smacked my foot against the hip thrust machine, and I thought I needed to go to A&E. I was in loads of pain, and I had to cancel a podcast, and that was incredibly frustrating. I basically couldn't walk for a couple of days, and then I deloaded. That forced me to deload all my squatting patterns and hip hinging. I've got a slight concern, Mike, that I might have done some semi-serious damage to my foot. Just over the last few days, it's been randomly, I got some pains, just quite sharp pains in the foot, and then it would dissipate and I'm fine. And obviously I'm deadlifting, squatting, I'm doing sissy squats, I'm doing calf raises. I'm not getting pain during the lifting, but now and then I'll get a bit of a sign of it kind of feels a little bit bruised still. And I split the skin, so there is a mark of where I hit it, and it feels maybe like it's a little inflamed. It's not like if I push it, it's like, oh, that's really painful. It's just So yeah, I'm trying to, I'm hoping ignorance is kind of bliss and it will just pass and I won't have to worry about it. But I have a slight concern that maybe I don't know, sprained something, broke something in my foot. I mean, the pain I was feeling, I wouldn't be surprised if I did actually some proper damage, but I might have to get a scan on it or an X-ray or MRI, whatever would be appropriate.
I mean, it's not. So if there's, and most certainly there was bone bruising, it's not unusual for bone bruising to linger around for a long
Good.
time.
That's good news. I was thinking it'd
So
been a while.
yeah, so well beyond, a month. It could be 6+ weeks. So two.
Okay.
Even around that 2 month mark, if you were still feeling some symptoms, that wouldn't be abnormal.
Good.
So that's fine.
Okay,
And
that
again,
gives
if there
me
was like a
hope.
little bit of ligament and connective tissue damage as well, again, we would expect that. So, and as you're loading it, it's a weight, that area of the foot can be quite weight bearing as well. So yeah, it all kind of makes sense and it's not unusual.
That's good. Okay, nice. Yeah, I I asked ChatGPT, and it was like, you must immediately take yourself to A&E and go get a scan. I was like, I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully, like I said, I think it's one of those things. I think it will just pass, but I'm just aware of it. Is how I would put it, like you so eloquently often say. So yeah, my lower body training now feels like it's kind of flying, as it were, and I'm starting to really feel good and confident about it. And then the other update, there was one more. Oh, my body weight. So, like I've said before, like I'm trying to gain nice and slowly. That's kind of how our philosophy is for well-trained lifters who have a small growth opportunity. And I'd been gaining very nicely and slowly over the months. And over December, for whatever reason, I dropped like 2 pounds,
Mm.
even though my food only went up. It went like, I was on like 3,600, and then I moved all the way up to like over 3,700, and it just dropped off. Whatever January, it started to tick back up. So I'm almost back up to where I once was in November. So it was just a good reminder to me, because I think definitely me in the past, and I think a lot of people would see that weight drop and they'd be like, calorie deficit. You obviously need way more food, and they'd be quite aggressive with that. And I think then that would lead to an excessive of a surplus, and they'd see a kind of this delayed weight gain and overshoot. Whereas I'm just glad where I kind of treated it as a new low and then just built back up from there. It reminds me of what happened in the Maldives. I don't know if you remember, I came back like 2-3 pounds lighter from the
Yes.
Maldives. It was just like, what? Like, why? And I just treated that as a new baseline and just built up from there. So I don't think I need to like a load more food. It just doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, hopefully it will keep ticking up, but I might have to, I'm on like 3,750 basically is where I'm kind of hovering around. Might have to move up to 3.8 at some point, but I don't, again, I'm not rushing it. I feel the thing, I actually had this with Jake Remmett, not Jake Remmett. Why have I forgotten Jake's last name? That's really going to annoy me. My client, Jake, he'll be listening.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Jake. Your last name has completely gone out of my head. Jake
Fit
Remmett is,
hell.
yeah, fit as hell. He's still obviously quite recently post show and still has like food focus. And I think for a lot of people, especially those who aren't patient, and I think this actually often hurts a lot of bodybuilders post show, where they're just like food focused and they're really ramping up food. It's like, you're not actually physiologically hungry. You're just psychologically want to eat shit, basically. But he's like, I feel well fueled. I can miss meals and feel fine. Like I'm not, like he hasn't got those physical hunger signs and like all of those elements. So it's like, we don't need to keep rushing his body weight up. We can kind of chill a bit closer to maintenance for a period of time. But Jake Hellman, there we go. Yeah, I knew it would come to my head. Too many Jakes in my life. I don't know where I was going with this, apart from like, I think just that, especially if you are trying to run a small surplus, you just have to be nice and patient with things.
And like you were saying, like your training's in a good place. You can still train really hard, because if your body weight dropped and all of a sudden maybe you just didn't have that oomph in the gym or something of that nature, then like, right, hey, I probably do need to push food up. But hey, if you can still perform well in the gym, everything else is in a good place. We know we don't want, we don't want the appetite to go down the tank or anything. It's like, hey, let's just keep our cool and see where things go. And I think it's, been a really good lesson for sure.
Yeah, exactly. You just bring it back to what's actually driving muscle growth. And also, yeah, to be in a deficit. I mean, firstly, I'd feel the symptoms of being in a deficit, which I didn't at all, but it just doesn't make any sense to only have progressed food. It's just funny because I posted up photos and I posted up my weight graph, and then some people were trying to argue that I was in a deficit for that period of time, and this whole you don't need a surplus to maximize muscle gain, you can just eat at maintenance permanently, and like I've got a time for that in certain scenarios, but generally I don't think it's great advice. But I think those are the only updates on my end.
I had a question actually.
Oh.
So a while back, you were obviously having the Thrive blood tests. Are you still having them?
Oh, Mike, you've just reminded me of something I need to do. So, yeah, I got one, when was it? Like 3 months post-show? Something like that. Maybe even closer than that, actually, maybe a couple of months. And when you start with Thriver, they put you on a subscription because that's their model of how they do it. And it was on every 3 months. And so that one came, and then I cancelled because I was like, I don't need them every 3 months. And I still have that one hanging around. So I need to do it. But it's just, when it's like, I don't know any other way of saying this apart from, you probably know what it's like. So when you broke your glasses and you're like, they're broken, but I can still use them. So you just delay it. You're just like, well, I know I should get new glasses, but they work still, so I won't. And I just delay it. And it's similar here. It's like, I feel fine. Like the bloods are going to come back and I'm almost 100% certain they're going to be in range, but I should still do it just because, I've spent money on the damn thing and it's good just to have the data. And it'll be good time to do it like this far, like a year post show basically, and everything to see where things are. Because I guess that would be like, just be good data to have. But it's a hassle to do the whole process, especially because I do it I only did it last time, and last time it took me quite a while because it was the first time I was doing it. But now I've completely forgotten how it kind of all went and happened. So it'll be another learning of doing the whole thing. So no, I haven't, Mike. I need to do it. I've tucked it away somewhere, so I know it's behind me somewhere, but I had been leaving it out on my sofa, so I knew it was there and I needed to do it. But now it's like out of sight, out of mind.
Well, maybe not next week. The week after, we'll ask again as a little prompt.
Yeah, if you keep nudging me, I'll be like, I can't keep saying no. I haven't done it. It's because you have to do it. The part of the barrier to entry is you have to do it first thing fasted. I believe. And so I have to have walked Ada and everything and blah, 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 and then do it. Whereas I kind of would, if I was just living on my own, it would be like, oh, yeah, I just wake up and do it when I wake up. But I kind of need to have made sure Ada's been taken care of because she'll have a bark at me and make my life hell.
Yeah. That's fine. It's something to plan ahead maybe at some point. No rush.
Have you got any, we haven't spoken about it for ages and I'm just interested. Any anime, TV shows on the go, or have you been too busy?
So it's interesting. So after we've watched Demon Slayer, I actually watched something really different, which was, have you heard of Vinland Saga?
Watched both seasons, yes, sir.
So I watched that and it was all right. Like, enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything anywhere near like a Demon Slayer.
You've seen both seasons?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was such a slow burner. Like the first season, I didn't really think much of. It was just all about like revenge and trying to kill Askeladd and stuff. I was surprised Askeladd died in the end. Spoiler alert for anyone. But then
spoiler alert after the alert. I mean, after the spoiler.
Delayed spoiler alert. And then the second season, again, like it was just quite slow burny and it was good at the end. It was like, oh, that's quite nice. And yeah, it was just a real slow burner of a whole thing. I think it would be good if they make a season 3 at some point because I'd really like to see that.
Might. Yeah, I heard they might. Yeah, I had lots of hope for Vinland Saga and it had like chunks of gold within it, which I loved. But then they'll just, especially initially, the main character, I can't remember his name. What's his name?
Thorfinn.
Not that it matters. Thorfinn, that's the one. He was super annoying at the start, like super duper annoying. And then you wanted him in the second season to just lose his shit. You just wanted him to break and just go completely berserk. On that note, you need to watch Berserk if you haven't.
Okay.
You'll like Berserk.
Okay.
That's awesome. So, yeah, and then he just doesn't. But I thought you might really like the philosophy and that whole thing. You might appreciate that so much because I imagine it's just so much up your street. But what's the quote? It's like, we have no enemies. That sort of like philosophy, which is great. But you just wanted him to like bring out all that skill that he'd had. and put it into play. Like, there's that scene where he's getting like whipped to shit, basically, and you're just like, please just go crazy. But he just doesn't. He just takes the beating.
It just kind
very
of
stoic.
like fizzled out into nothing a little bit sometimes. I felt like it showed signs that he might do something like that, but then they never made it happen. You're like, oh, come on. But I did like that at the end, the no enemies and that philosophical side. I was like, yeah, this is good. We like this.
But yeah, I'm the same. I liked it, but I wasn't like some people really, really liked it. I do think it was good storytelling. I haven't actually been watching any anime recently. I've been watching Andor, which is Star Wars. Really good. Someone gave me access basically to season 2 because I lost access to Disney Plus, so I hadn't seen it, but because it was released in like 2022, I think. But anyway, very, very good. Really enjoyed that and look forward to a season 3. You haven't seen any of the new Star Wars stuff like Mandalorian or anything?
No.
It's, especially the first couple of seasons of Mandalorian was so good. And they've got a film coming out with the Mandalorian and Grogu. So I think that comes out this year, maybe.
Yeah, I should probably just pay for a subscription to Disney and just get stuck into it all.
That's the way to do it, is pay for like a month, get that, like watch all the stuff you want to watch and then cancel it. That's probably the way to do it. And then, what was I going to say? The other thing I've been watching, I keep calling it Maybe Call Saul. It's Better Call Saul is what it's called. I don't know why I think maybe is what it's called. Anyway, I think I've pretty much I've almost finished it, I think. I've got 3 more episodes left, I think, of the final season. And it's just so good. You've heard of Breaking Bad, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's on that level of, like, it's a side story to Breaking Bad, basically. It's one of the characters in Breaking Bad and potentially better than Breaking Bad, actually.
Do you need to watch Breaking Bad to watch that?
Good question. I don't think you probably do. I don't think you have to, but I probably would watch Breaking Bad first and then watch that. There's also a movie associated with Breaking Bad, which I haven't watched, which I'd like to watch. And then Stranger Things, of course, which I'm assuming you've heard of.
Do you know what? It's so funny you said that. It's such a coincidence because I was going to ask you about it. I've heard a couple of people mention it and I haven't seen it. So
yeah. The final season just kind of finished. So me and Charlotte gets, she will watch things with me, but I'm that guy, like you're probably similar to me, Mike, where you just want to watch it like every night and get through it. And like, you just want to stay to the same thing. Whereas Charlotte's like, oh no, let's watch something else. I'm a bit like, it's too much. She needs a break from it. But then it ends up, we don't watch it. So it happened with Breaking Bad, for example. So I ended up watching it on my own and stuff. So this happened with Stranger Things, we're maybe a couple of seasons in, but I'm so lost to where we are. So, but we are planning to watch that. But the thing you now are aware of, which you weren't aware of, anyone in the UK will know what I'm talking about, is Traitors. So Traitors has just kicked off another season. It's just so good.
Oh, okay.
I've been watching that with Charlotte. But yeah, that's been the downtime. I think someone actually asked me on my Q&A on my stories recently, like, outside of bodybuilding, like, what interests, like, what do you do? It's like, I'm like, kind of enjoy watching movies, TV, and traveling now and then, very rarely eating out. I haven't got too much else going on.
It's so funny. Someone asked me that in the gym the other day, and I was like, but I don't know.
I sing, I dance, I go to yoga, I don't know, I go to a book club. No, I don't do any of that.
Crazy. But I actually heard Eric Helms talk about this. It was on a podcast somewhere, but he's got like, so Eric likes, he likes the art, the philosophy of bodybuilding. He likes the science. And it's kind of like, even though it is all centered around bodybuilding, it's all these little mini kind of hobbies and interests as such. And I feel for us, like, it's the same. Like, we've got this one passion, but then there's a lot of mini things around that. And I guess obviously for you, you've got tattoos and stuff like that as well.
True. Which
you could say.
Yeah, when I posted my 2025 roundup and the first slide was tattoos, I was like, man, they feel like ages ago. I need to get another one. So I am more than likely, when my artist opens up his books again, going to apply to see if I can get that next gap filled, which I am actually not sure what I'm going to do. I probably will stick to themes. For those that don't know, I have Attack on Titan, right calf, my right arm is, well, right forearm is Dragon Ball Z or Dragon
Mm,
Ball, and then, well, actually it's all Z, I think, and then my left is Naruto.
mm,
So my left calf is currently Hunter x Hunter. I'm like, I should probably stick to the theme, but maybe I'll go rogue with the character and I won't go for Gon,
mm,
who obviously would be the obvious one to accompany Killua. But maybe I'll go for someone rogue. I'm not sure who, but Hisoka would be pretty cool.
mm. Or
Uh,
who was the Grand Master, the bald guy with the beard? I can't remember his name. He was
I
like
can't
the
remember his name
headmaster.
either. Yeah.
He was all
He had
right.
with the dragons and he brought them down from the sky. That was pretty cool. Or I quite like, it was the one you thought was a girl, but it was a boy. Not you, but people in
Yeah,
general
the one of
with the
the head
chains,
with the chains. Um,
with the eyes, killing the
who was a cat?
spiders or whatever it is. No, not P2. Goody. And it was
Oh yes,
right at the
sorry.
start. I
Yeah, no,
forgot. I
sorry, I
can't
know.
remember the name. People are probably shouting it.
Oh, it's
I
so
can't remember
bad.
the
I've
name.
forgotten it. That her name, his name.
His name
Um,
is.
yeah, I know exactly who you mean.
There's a few uncertain genders in that, actually, Hunter x Hunter, because P2, the cat that you mentioned, is actually male, not
Mm.
female, which is interesting. But anyway, I digress. Should we
I
get to
also,
questions, do you think?
yeah, but just quickly, I do think Gon's dad, who was jacked as well, he was quite cool. Long
Is he
hair.
jacked?
Well, he was big. I thought he was jacked.
Oh, you're getting the names wrong. So Killua's dad with
Yes,
white
sorry,
hair.
Killua's dad. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking Gon's dad. I can't remember Gon's dad's name now. Freak. Anyway, he was nothing impressive. He was like
No.
had like stubble and just like looked like a normal dude. But yes, Killua's dad was pretty impressive. Or so one of the spider team individuals would be pretty cool.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll just have to have a bit of a think about it.
What about? I know it wouldn't fit with the theme, but you're gonna have to have a part of your body for Demon Slayer, surely.
I love the artwork of Demon Slayer, but it's never caught me like, like in your core. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know, made me, I don't know if, no, I don't think I've cried or felt, I don't know, as attached to it as the other anime I've got bits of. So I'll leave that to you, Mike.
Yeah.
You're getting, the swordsman. Why have I forgotten his name? Rengoku.
Yeah.
Or at least
That
that was who you said. Maybe.
it's so funny because I would say Demon Slayer so far is my top anime. Like I don't know, I can't even describe, but it has just touched me. So if I was to get a tattoo, it would be that of Demon Slayer, Rengoku, or Tanjiro, or both. So yeah, I
And
love
then
it.
you won't stop, Mike. That's the
I never
trouble.
will stop. Literally.
Right. Questions?
Let's go.
I'll ask you the first one here from my man Jake, fit as hell. How have your thoughts on range of motion evolved over your training career?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's probably similar to a lot of people where initially it was very much based around a full range of movement, but then realizing just actually the lengthened position for a lot of muscle groups is important. So definitely that changed to calf training in terms of doing solely lengthened partials for calf training. Similar to yourself, Steve, I noticed a significant improvement in calf development, calf strength, and calf mind muscle connection for my back as well. There was some movements with bent over rows that I always really struggled with, but lengthened partials just felt great. So lengthened partials really helped and really changed my perspective with certain body parts and certain training. And also just that continuum of, hey, maybe after I've depleted like that full range of movement, maybe I can just finish off with a few partials just to improve the stimulus and to take that muscle to that little bit closer to failure and get a bit more volume from that perspective. So I would say it's swung a little bit, but now it's very much in that middle ground and being adaptable depending on the body part and what I'm trying to train.
Hi guys, Steve here. Just wanted to take a moment of your time to remind you of our online coaching service. At Revive Stronger, we pride ourselves on providing personalized service that will take your physique and knowledge to the next level. If you're interested, check the description and sign up. Yeah, I think my thoughts very much mirror, and my experience mirrors a lot of what you said there. I was trying to think back to before I even was aware of evidence and just what was I training. And I think I was just mirroring what I saw. And there was definitely some ego lifting surrounding it. And I never really even thought about range of motion. I just thought you execute a squat by going down and going up, or I execute a bench press by coming down and going up. I did tend to have thoughts surrounding, like, hey, I think it was like parroted things you just hear. It was like, hey, for benching, you touch your chest. That's like where you should stop. Squatting, you squat as low as you can, basically. So I think I just had those kind of general ideas and thoughts in my mind. I didn't really think about, more lengthened, more shortened, and all of those aspects. And then I moved towards, obviously, the evidence, and Brad Schoenfeld's like main meta-analyses showed full ROM to be superior to partials. Most of that data obviously is on short partials, but that was where I'd then focus on, and I'd be like, right, full ROM, and I got, and this is like a big jump because this is when I started really thinking about full ROM, was exposure to Renaissance periodization, Mike Israetel, and how he would lift. And obviously we brought him across for seminars, and he'd have in-person training, and he'd like show us how to execute lifts. I was like, wow, like that's like full ROM, that's real deep. And he'd really have a big focus on that. And so obviously they developed Team Full ROM, and I became quite like focused on trying to get a full range of motion on every exercise, and maybe was very strict towards that sort of thing. Then obviously Milo Wolf came out with his meta-analyses, and there was more data looking at these partial lengthened positions being possibly even superior for muscle growth in the studies that they looked at for the length of time for the subjects, all of that sort of thing. And so slowly started incorporating that into some of my training where it made sense, like you said, in positions where you'd fail in the short position, where you still had more in the lengthened position, and the resistance profile wasn't complementary to like the strength profile of the muscle. Kind of experimenting with it there, calves being a very obvious one where we saw benefit, back being another one, delts, those sort of things. And even experimenting with relatively extreme ranges of motion and trying to emphasize that, like for the lats, trying to do like pull arounds and all of these sort of things, and kind of lent a bit that way. And even tried lengthen partials for like squat patterns for hip hinges and things like this. And sometimes liked it, sometimes didn't. And like, I never went full lengthen partials, certainly didn't, like some did. And then kind of experimented, then found like our footing with what provided a better SFR essentially. And my thoughts also developed past, previously it was like full ROM for the exercise at hand. And I started to think more about range of motion for muscle groups versus exercises. So it's like, right, so the lats, for example, on a row, if you're trying to just train the lats or bias the lats, don't pull your elbow behind your torso because the lats aren't doing that function. And that's more like rear delts and upper back musculature and mid back, other muscles there. So thinking about it more that way, or on a squat pattern, one I've spoken about before is, hey, if you're coming down for a squat or for a hack squat, whatever it might be, if that extra depth sacrifices knee flexion for hip flexion, well, now you're getting more length at the glutes and the posterior chain and not the quads. So starting to think about it that way too. So I think that's where I'm at with it now, where I think about more range of motion for muscles versus exercises. And then, making sure essentially to get into a lengthened position or have some lengthened like exercises that get the muscle to a longer muscle length and load it, but not doing exclusively lengthened partials, and kind of picking and choosing our battles in that regard, which can look very different and can be approached differently.
Yeah, definitely. And it's kind of almost, for me, that feels like just being more open-minded and really just using the right tool for the toolbox, rather than having, say, like a hammer for lots of different jobs. It's like, right, what's the job at hand? Hey, we could use a screwdriver, we could use a hammer, we could use a drill or a spanner. It feels a little bit more like that. And I think as long as we can stay open-minded with what future research might show and what our experience shows, and just being adaptable to that, I think hopefully that will always lead us down the right path.
Such a great analogy. I think it works so well. It's like when you first start lifting or start building a project, you just need basic tools. Full ROM, big compound lifts. Don't try and bias, try and be too clever. And then once you're trying to really like make small additions to that, or like, design the interior, you've got to be careful about the tools you use, because the wrong tool for the job isn't going to see any success. And similar as when you're advanced like we are, like we have to be more precise about what we're utilizing there. So yeah, great analogy.
I love it. Right. So, Progress Forwards asks, can full range of movement actually hurt recovery due to recovery demands of the lengthened range?
From my personal experience, it wasn't any more demanding to my recovery, especially if you slowly integrate it or you've already been lifting in that lengthened range. I didn't find it to be a problem. The only times I found it to be an issue is sometimes my shoulders would get a bit upset with some pulling motions. I don't think that's necessarily... there was a time where I tried doing like just scapular depression to train the lats, because obviously that's a role that they really do. And I just found it caused discomfort in the shoulder, so I just didn't do it. But general lengthened partial training, or lengthened, did he say? Whatever he said, full ROM, lengthened range. No, so long as you're fit, healthy, all that good stuff, I didn't really find it to be a problem. There may even be some data on this. I just remember specifically when I spoke to Brett Contreras surrounding this, where this is something he thought. He was like, he thought lengthened partials would be more fatiguing, but he was like, actually, the data didn't show that. And I can't think of the data, but I can think of him saying that and quoting him as my source.
Yeah, no, that came to my mind as well. And all I would add to that is, it doesn't, for me, it's not necessarily general recovery, but I think it's what's a comfortable range of movement for that person's body type, because certainly someone might feel great from a certain position, but if they go into an extreme range of movement for them, that causes them, like, say, for example, if they're doing a lat pull down or something, and maybe they exaggerate the amount of overhead flexion or something, or go into a really extreme stretch for them that their body's not adapted to at that point, and they suddenly start loading it really heavily, then that might cause them a bit of connective tissue discomfort or something. So I think it's, as long as you go within a range that's right for that person's body, or if it is something that's a bit more unaccustomed, be careful with your loading. Graded exposure is really important. Those would be the only things that I would add.
And I guess fundamentally, the evidence as a whole right now suggests that you get more growth by training the lengthened position. So it's like, even if it is more fatiguing, it's worth the stimulus that you get from it, because yes, there's more muscle damage and things like this associated with it. Like you said, graded exposure tends to lead to these things not being extreme. Like neither you or me might get sore particularly often, because and we do plenty of heavy bias lengthened work. It's because the body's well adapted to it at this point.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
your graded exposure is important.
Cool.
Hey, ditto. Wait, not ditto. We said the same word. What's that? So the next question from your man Aaron Busby asks, what are the keys to success in a competition prep, and what are the common mistakes / downfalls of competitors? I'm just going to go for a quick wee. I'll let you.
Oh, what? This is a fantastic question, Aaron. So I think there are lots of keys to success, I think. And I think one of the first ones, I think, keys to success is setting your expectations right beforehand. And by that, I might mean that you're not putting your focus on an outcome. You might have an outcome goal, which might be placement orientated or something, but that's not the entire focus. And that kind of expectation of having realistic expectations, putting your focus on trying to master the process, keeping that as your kind of key guiding light and focus, I think that kind of really sets people up for success straight away. And in terms of that focus on the process, so it's like, right, how can I make sure that my training remains at a high quality with my nutrition? How can I make sure that I'm managing my nutrition well, my fueling? I think a big part of that is also organization as well. So things like, planning ahead, meal preparation, not necessarily sacrificing social occasions, and again planning around that, but also knowing that, right, as I get to the more business end of a contest prep, that probably I'm going to have to be less flexible with those sorts of social occasions, and I'm going to have to be a bit more business mode. And I think a key part of that as well is communicating with your family, with your friends, and really getting them on board really early so that it's not this surprise for them. So I think really kind of setting those conversations up early, I think is really important as well. So, and I think when people don't look after those variables, I think those are often common mistakes. So I'll probably just leave it there to begin with.
Mike, I read this question. I was like, this could be a whole damn podcast. So I was like, oh, how's Mike going to approach this? I could just see you just went on I was like, you could just keep going. Like there's just so many thoughts that come into play. But I think you touched on some really important things in terms of key success. If I was to break it down like very broadly, like first principles, I think for me, from a physiological state, you want to be in a healthy position to start. It's like no injuries, on good food, like metabolically, physiologically healthy, and not too over fat, as it were, to kind of move forward. Part of being not over fat is plan, as you said. Mm-hmm. Make sure you've got a really good plan and a timeline in place that's well thought out. And then the next one kind of actually aligns with some of the things you said, is just having realistic expectations of what the process is going to involve. I think if you're like physiologically healthy, mentally you understand what you're putting yourself through, and you've got a plan, they're kind of three huge keys to success. Obviously, you could dive into each and every one of those with a lot of depth, but I think you did that to some extent. So then I'll let you do you went over some mistakes, but when just like, okay, common mistakes and pitfalls, I'm trying to think of less broader ones and like more specific ones.
I've got a specific one.
Yeah, go for it.
So not researching criteria for bodybuilding competitions. So people
I bet most don't.
Yeah. So it's like, so you don't know what the poses might be. You don't know what kind of, posing trunks or what kind of, clothing that you're supposed to be wearing. Like you don't know
the judging criteria.
Yeah. You don't know. And I think that's a massive, massive common mistake.
I honestly didn't look at the actual judging criteria and like the rules until my 2021 season. So I'd done 2 whole seasons, loads of shows. I had never looked at it. I was just like knew the poses, knew I had to come in shredded. Thankfully, I was doing bodybuilding, which is like quite easy. You need to be the biggest, most shredded guy, basically, right? But other categories, certainly, you need to know these things. So that's a great one. And I would put posing into that as well. Just not. Yeah. It's a mistake. So many people leave posing too late. They don't emphasize it enough, and that can make a huge difference. And like you said, actually, a lot of the things like lack of planning, like the things that the best do, those making mistakes. So I'm trying to think of more obvious common mistakes. I think emphasizing peak week too much is a common one. Thinking it's going to make a huge difference, and also changing too many things during peak week would be a really common one that I see. Anything else?
This is a little bit broad, but so I think people get sometimes a bit too dialed in too early. And it's kind of like they expend all of this energy early on in prep because they're like, beast mode now and whatever. And it's like they fizzle out.
Monk mode.
monk mode, all of that jazz. And, but it's like a dimmer switch. It's like you got to, and in fairness, I think Alberto mentioned this in his vlogs in his lead up to his to his season this year. But it's like got to be a dimmer switch. You've got to really be cognizant of when you're expending that energy, because there is going to be times when you need to go business mode and dig deep and stuff, and you need to have that saved for when you need it, rather than just letting it go all out all the time.
I have a one in this links to that one, but either going too fast or too slow at various time points. So not going at the appropriate pace given where you are in your prep. It makes much more sense to mirror your rate of loss with the amount of body fat that you have available to expend. So at the start of prep, you go fast. At the end of prep, you go real slow. If you flip-flop that, it's not going to be very good. But also, using all of your tools right at the start and going excessively fast is not wise either. Like, you do 60 minutes of cardio a day, 10,000 steps, 1,000-calorie deficit. Suddenly, you're going to be in a real hole. You're going to have a problem there. And yeah, I think those are probably the main mistakes that we see people doing. If I had time to write them all out, I could probably think of some more, but I can't think of any obvious one. So one, just a random kind of common one, is it tends to be more heavyweight individuals, or often taller, but normally heavyweights. Typically, if you're a lot of the heavyweight competitors need to be a middleweight. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So bigger individuals underestimate how much they need to lose, and they're so used to being a big individual, then they don't want to lose that. Other people get carried away with getting too shredded. So it's that you need to find that middle ground between the two, which can be really hard when you're self-coaching.
Did you see the feedback on the survey from Worlds by Brian Miner?
I did, yes.
It kind of showed a similar thing where the heavyweights dieted for less, not as long, and the lightweights dieted for longer, and yeah, there was a lot of similarities with kind of what you just said, but obviously there's going to be a lot of differences and nuance there, but yeah, it was interesting.
Do you remember, did he just look at the pros, or did he look at amateurs, or both? I can't actually remember. I don't know if he even stated it. Yeah, because that would be interesting, because I think often it's amateur heavyweights that often need to diet more, but pro heavyweights tend to just be huge. And they're actually shredded and fine.
Yeah.
Because they're a pro, and so they've not made, you can't be a pro if you're making that mistake of being soft. So anyway,
and can I just make a small tangent? So potentially Worlds this year, Babacar, Oscar Mosca, and Brian DaCosta.
Oh, I didn't know Brian was going for it this year.
I think that was one of the reasons why Oscar wanted to compete again, because Brian is going to be competing. Maybe. I could have got that wrong, but...
Do you have a source where you think you heard that or saw it?
Longevity Muscle podcast.
Ah, okay. Cool.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I could have gotten my wires crossed, potentially.
This will be, if Baba goes again, that's 3 years on the trot. I don't know if he competed even the year before that, but that's a lot of... But he stays pretty lean year round, and I don't know, he's just such a freak.
Yeah.
In the best way possible. He is an absolute freak. But, yeah, man, basically, the way I would see that going is if Oscar brings an extra kilo to 2 off of body fat, he's going to be undeniable, right? I think Brian's going to struggle with that level of muscle mass and shape and bubbliness. And then I would have, if Babacar brings what Babacar normally brings, which is very polished and excellent, I think he would be a kind of shoo-in for second. And unfortunately, Brian will struggle with those two guys if they bring their A game. I think just Brian he's got a lot of mass, but he hasn't got the lines that those two boys bring, unfortunately. I mean that with all love to Brian, if he not that he likely listens to this, but those guys are just, Brian is a freak. They are like freaks. They're all freaks.
Yeah,
it's a freak show.
On the mass Iron Culture podcast, in the interview with Eddie Saldana and Max Melchard, Max was saying Benjamin Schuster was looking freaky.
I did hear that too. Is he going for 2027 as well?
I don't think so.
26, sorry, this
I
year.
don't think so, but
Okay.
yeah, you know, you don't know. You never know.
Actually, because I've listened to that episode afterwards, I looked up Benjamin Schuster, and I don't know what Max must have seen something I didn't, but because he didn't. There's not much of Ben's physique on his feed, at least. Maybe it was a story or something, I think he said his coach shared it or something. Anyway, Benjamin has heaps of potential for sure.
Yeah, crazy. But anyway, sorry, I massively derailed things.
It's all right.
So Remy Sarka, our guy with the amazing questions, asks, you can go to any fictional world from books or movies, etc., but can never come back to Earth. Do you go? And if so, where do you go? Steve can take his girlfriend.
And I'm going to bring Ada as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, which fictional world? God, why? My mind immediately went to Dragon Ball Z. I don't know why. They're on Earth, aren't they, anyway? Like, isn't that Earth that they're on?
Yeah.
It's just they're there. And it doesn't guarantee I have their powers. So I kind of want to go, oh, man, maybe My Hero Academia would be really cool. Because assuming, and I'm going to say I'm born with a quirk, that's their like power. They have quirks, which is a cool way to think about it, right? I'd just be super interested to know what my quirk would be. Like, I don't know, it might be laser beam eyes, or it might be like I can teleport, or I'm invisible, or I don't know, there's loads of different quirks. You need to watch My Hero Academia, it's good. And that could be a tattoo, actually. I wouldn't want to watch it through again because it was a bit segmented. Anyway, so I think I'd go there. That's where I'm going to choose, at least.
Nice.
Certainly, I'm definitely not going to Attack on Titan.
That wouldn't be great at all. My head also immediately went to Dragon Ball, but then second thing it went to Demon Slayer. So that probably might be where I go next, or where I would go. Sorry.
You're going to be a demon, right?
No way. I'd be like, yeah, I'd be a demon in the Demon Slayer core.
Mike, I don't think you thought through that very well.
Why is that?
Think about how awful it would be. Like, you're fighting for your life. It's quite as similar to Attack on Titan. Like, the chances you die, I don't know, they're relatively high, I would expect.
That's true, to be fair. I'd probably like encounter a demon and then just get killed or turned into a demon. It wouldn't be great.
But I know, yeah, I can see why you'd go there. Right. Next question is from Val.Delamura. Ideas for a shoulder workout with focus on lateral delts. That's very broad.
Well, I guess the easy thing is start off with a cable lateral raise, and then you basically, it would all center around starting off with a lateral raise variation, fatigue the delts, and then maybe going into a pressing variation of some description, and then that would probably be,
That's your
take
shoulder
things from
workout.
there however you want to go. It's pretty simple.
I'd probably put in I struggle with this question because I immediately just think, like, what does the rest of the week look like?
Yeah.
What does the rest of the split look like? Similar to trying to design someone, I don't know, ideas for a meal that's I start with garlic bread. It's like, I don't know, you could have some pizza later. No, maybe that's too many carbs. You have anyway. Yeah. I really struggle with this question. I don't know where I can't add anything that you've already said. All I can think is maybe do a face pull.
Yeah, add in some rear delts. Yeah, sorry, Val. Bit of a hard one there, but you can just make. It's not about a workout as such. It's just principles. There's nothing special about anything. Just it's how does that look in the context of your wider week, and focus more on principles. There's nothing magic about anything.
I'll try and be a little bit more helpful. So, you mentioned it. Start with a side lateral raise because that's going to fatigue the lateral delts first, and likely that's good for, if that's your main focus, you're going to be able to give you your best effort and focus. So doing like a cable lateral raise is a great move. that gets the lateral delts. But then we have the front delts, the rear delts. Probably best just to think about them as those three. And so then you'd want to do like an overhead press movement, really hit the front delts very, very well. And then like a rear delt movement, so like a face pull or like a rear cable fly or a high row type of movement. That's going to hit each of those heads nicely. I think that's as helpful as where I can go with it. Again, like Mike said, the broader workout week and goals and everything would be helpful too.
Indeed, indeed. Right. So our guy Barnaby Stanton asks, have you guys tried cream of rice? I see it everywhere in FDOE content, but the idea of it feels weird.
Full day of eating, that stands for.
Got it. I couldn't put the two together.
Mike is not social media literate, although I realize, nor am I, because I commented on Menno Henselman's post recently and no one got my sarcasm. And apparently there's like a -S is like lets people know it's sarcasm. I was like, I didn't even know that existed. I don't know why you do that and not just write brackets sarcastic or something. Anyway, I left it with ... and I thought people would understand I was being sarcastic, but the number of people that commented were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you believe that or something. It's quite funny. Anyway, where was I going with this? So yeah, I'm out of the loop. I think that's like a Reddit thing. With regards to cream of rice, both of us have cream of rice pretty regularly. I don't eat cream of rice at the moment on its own. I mix it into my oats, and it's great. That's what I call it, croats, for that reason. But do you regularly have just cream of rice?
I regularly, it just varies. Some week, it depends how I feel on the day. I tend to have it on its own.
Varied.
I know, crazy. I don't have croats because I've experimented with it, but I've never got the recipe quite right. So I either just have cream of rice on it like as it is, or proats. I haven't blended the two just yet. I probably need to refine. I need to practice.
How do you do your croats?
So this is where I've gone wrong.
How did you try?
So what I should have done, which is what you do, I think you partially microwave your oats first, and then you put in the cream of rice, and then do you put in the protein?
Yeah.
And then you put it back in the microwave.
Oh, no microwave. Once the protein's in, you let it sit.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you put the cream of rice in and then put it back in the microwave for a bit?
Yeah.
Got it. So
Yeah.
that's the step that I missed.
That's cool. Yeah, that will make all the difference, because the rice will cook a little, but it won't cook properly if it doesn't get microwaved. But the oats take more time because they're not as processed, basically. So they take a bit more time. But even down to oats in particular, depending on what oats you use, they cook at different rates and speeds and everything, don't they? I've actually got some oat flour because I have my cream of rice. I don't actually use officially cream of rice. I don't know what you use, Mike, but I buy basically rice flour off Amazon, and I have it on a subscription, so it just comes every, I don't know, 2 months. I worked out how frequently I needed it, and it comes because I get like 5% off if I do it that way. But one of those subscriptions, they sent me oat flour instead of rice flour, and I was just like, what am I going to do with oat flour? I don't want, like, what is that? You know, the powder, Ready Brek. It's like Ready Brek kind of. It's even actually more processed than Ready Brek. It's like just fine flour. Anyway, maybe I'll make it into like some oat cakes or something at some point.
Yeah. You could make like some sort of prote biscuit or something.
But that would be, yes, it would be a recommendation. Don't buy you can buy branded cream of rice. It's flavored typically, but it's mostly just rice and expensive rice. So you can buy rice flour, or you can literally buy like rice, white rice, and just blend it if you wanted to. It'd be super cheap. Where you got yours off Amazon as well, then, your rice flour?
No, I got it from Sainsbury's.
Oh.
And because I find it's cheaper, because I looked at rice flour on Amazon and they were all relatively expensive, but I think it was only like £2 or something in Sainsbury's for like a kilo.
I need to justify my rice flour. Where is it? I need to find how expensive it is. I don't think it's that expensive, the one I get. £4 per kilo. I don't know what you just said.
So I think in Sainsbury's it's like £2.50.
For a kilo?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to see if Sainsbury's sell it. I have bought it in supermarkets before, but I haven't been able to see it. My local supermarkets are crap.
Although Iceland sometimes comes out with some banger deals, I know, particularly when it comes to yogurts.
Yes, they do. Yeah, I have a stupid number of supermarkets around me, but none of them are like really good. It's just they're all like, don't know. There's a big Sainsbury's and it's terrible. Anyway,
Yeah. We
my
digress.
yes.
Oh yeah, it's your turn to ask the next question.
Underscore Manji Machine asks, what's the focus these days with your training?
Well, that's hopefully you should know
We've
by
kind of gone
now.
over that. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously for me it's recovery for the shoulder, building the lower body, and then hopefully very soon building the upper body.
Do you have specifics when you go back into upper body training that you want to personally work on?
Yeah. So chest, shoulders, arms.
Cool. Yeah,
In
I
that
think that
order.
makes sense. Chest. Yeah, I would prioritize them in that order as well. For me, my main focus is quads. I say this knowingly. They're my main focus, but I am focusing on everything to quite a large extent. But main focus, the areas I really want to bring up are quads, chest, and delts. They'd be the main focuses. But I do still train my back really hard, and hamstrings and glutes are still getting a lot of love. So calves. The only area I'm not really putting much effort into, in terms of volume of effort, that is arms. That's the only thing where I'm like,
Yeah, and your tibialis anterior.
well, yeah, my tib and my traps. Like I'm not isolating forearms, neck. Where else do people isolate? Adductors. Sorry, I'm not doing any of that stuff.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And you recently, I can't remember if it might have been last week, where you posted on your story the change in your delts from, I think it was post comp to now, and
yeah,
there's been noticeable progress.
Yeah, I think so. But you can never have enough delt, really. It's one of those things. So, but yes, right. Next question.
So, Kant Kalit Fitness asks, how to not get annoyed by the fitness trends. Last year was stability maxing and now it's form reset.
So, you are talking to the right person, as in Mike, because Mike is exactly the person you need to learn from, because Mike has no idea what either of these two things are, because he doesn't stay up to date with any of the trends. And if you don't stay up to date with them, you can't get annoyed by them.
Exactly. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. And honestly, with trends, oh man, how do you not get annoyed about them if you see them and you're aware of them? They come and go. So don't invest time into it. I think that's the main thing, is if things annoy you or trigger you on social media, get rid of it, block it, don't interact with it. Like, you can use social media really productively. If you see things in your feed you don't like, you get rid of it. If you see things you do like, keep up with it. The reason you're seeing it is because you're interacting with it, and therefore the algorithm is driving more content your way. But if you don't like it, stop interacting with it, stop looking at it, stop focusing on it, because to be honest, most of the trends come from not useful areas where you're actually developing any sort of knowledge, or it's not providing you any value. It's just clearly triggering. So that'll be my additional points, at least.
And tell me what you think about this. I kind of was thinking there as well that often, sometimes with these things, it's a kernel. It starts off with something that has a kernel of truth, or a bit more than that in terms of a truth, but people take it to the extreme, and then it just becomes this thing which is just too much, and it's just not a great thing. So it's kind of like approaching it, seeing it for what it is, in a sense. It's like, hey, there are some good points to it, but I know that the extent to which people are hyping it up is too much. And then just trying to step away from it and kind of almost, I don't know about you, Steve, but I have sometimes this debate in my head as to if someone tells me something that, maybe one of these fitness trends or whatever, could I explain it to them and could I debate them in a rational manner without getting emotional and without getting defensive or passive aggressive? And I think, well, if I can do that, then I've really mastered things to a certain degree. Whereas if it's triggering me to get emotional, then clearly I don't know the subject well enough to explain things. I don't know if what you think about that.
Kind of truth thing, and then people taking it too far. Absolutely. We've even seen this in the evidence-based space with like length and partials, for example. And the awful thing is people will also sculpt things to create a false reality. So, for example, when people think of length and partials, they think of people taking it too far. They immediately think Milo Wolf. But if you actually listen to Milo and all of his content, he places caveats all over the shop. One of them being, don't expect there to be a big difference between the two. Yeah, he's pro length and partials in many situations, but a lot of people would just be like, oh, he thinks length and partials is going to be the biggest game changer ever. And okay, maybe I'm going down a rabbit hole here. Yeah, maybe some of the social media content hasn't helped that, where they've maybe oversold some of the results in some situations, some may argue. But anyway, that was a bit of where was I going with that? But yes, people take it to extreme, but also people narrate their own stories in many ways. And it's kind of that whole, what is it? The mother's tale. Like you pass it down and they tell the brother, they tell the sister, they tell the family friend, and slowly you kind of compare what the story was at the start to at the end. It's completely different. Again, there's different people involved, and it's like this extreme kind of tale. So yeah, that definitely happens. And in regards to the kind of debating someone, yeah, I think that's fair. The thing that frustrates me sometimes with social media, Mike, I had this, you probably saw my story actually on it, where I talked about how sometimes I get frustrated because it's clear people aren't coming into discussing things in good faith, and oftentimes people just enter into discussion being disagreeable from the get-go. It's actually much more common for people to comment like negative things than just be like, hey, this is amazing, like thanks so much. Maybe like the post, but if they disagree with it or they have a different perspective and they want to like shout that out to the rooftops, they'll do that. And sometimes the effort to try and go through that back and forth discussion is just not worth it to me personally. Like even though I'm quote unquote in the right, like their phrasing, many people are way too black and white. Or the recent one for me was they were quoting a study and it was just like they hadn't read the study, because they said the authors concluded something that wasn't concluded in the study. I was just like, it just took far too much of my time to have that back and forth. It just wasn't worth it. But that's not really what you were asking. So I just wanted to kind of drop that a little bit in there.
Yeah, but that is a great point though, because sometimes you can't debate with people. And we were messaging each other a while back, and sometimes in some situations and with some people, it's that cliche of wrestling a pig. There's no point wrestling because you're just going to get dirty and the pig's going to love it. So I think you've just got to recognize in that situation when, hey, this is just not constructive. So I'm better off just separating myself from this situation.
Ben Yanes gave me a great, Yanis Yanes, I'm not sure how you say it, but Ben gave me a great way of trying to tell if someone's open-minded to discussing things. I can't remember exactly how he said it, but essentially if someone comments something that's like quite disagreeable, he'll come in with a question to them, and their answer to that question then gives you a sufficient idea of whether or not they're open to changing their mind at all or worth discussing with. Is probably very specific to their initial comment what that question would look like, but I thought that was a nice way of doing it. Someone else also said that they kind of get to a point where they state, this is my last like comment on this. And so I used that one recently. And yeah, but the other thing, on a slight tangent to this, I've seen a lot of online coaches getting this thing called brick. Essentially, you know when you pay for something on your card and it dings and you've paid, it's like you put your phone on this brick like this little black box, whatever, and it like, I don't know if it dings, but it basically removes all the apps that you ask it to remove.
Huh.
So you can literally like check in, check out. So like if you want them back, you have to put it down on it. And I was like, actually, of an evening, that'd be really helpful because I can literally be like, hey, don't know, it's 8 p.m. Boom. I can't go on social media. I can't, like, my phone is just, I can't look at emails. I can't look at anything.
Yeah.
Like, it kills off my phone, basically. Or if you're needing to do deep work, whatever it is, you don't want to be distracted, boom, removes them all. I don't think it's something you need to worry about, Mike, because I don't imagine your social media time is much at all. But for me, it's such a magnet of distraction. And I'm like, oh, it happened to me last night. I wonder if he's responded. I'm like, but I said that was my last comment. I'm not going back. I don't need to read it. But sometimes my monkey brain wants to take over. So I'm considering investing into that. Like I said, I've seen a number of online coaches getting it. I think Chris Barakat is maybe even an affiliate with the company.
That would be, if you did get that, I'd be really interested. I think that could potentially be great. I think sometimes we just need those assistance things, those little helpful things just to get us into a good frame of mind, just to remove it completely. It's kind of like, you know, if you've got chocolate in the cupboard or if you've got sweets in the cupboard, it's like, for some people, not as much, but for others, it's like, hey, if it's there, the temptation is always there. Whereas if it's not in the cupboard or in the kitchen at all, it makes things a lot easier.
I've heard of even more extreme versions of this where you like lock your phone in a cage. I don't know how you get it back, but like you can lock it in there. Actually, what you do is you lock it in there and then you set a time like how long to lock it for. So you can put your phone in a cage for like the weekend, for example. But I think that's a bit extreme because I need my phone for other things like Google Maps or paying for things. So anyway,
and it's also like, well, what if like a family member called you, it was an emergency, like they're in a crash or something? It's like,
it's pretty tricky.
Yeah.
Did I ask that last one or did you? I can't even remember now.
You ask it.
Oh. Right. So the underscore anonymous, top tips for post-Christmas New York weight loss. Oh, sorry, New York. New Year. I'm going to limit you, Mike. 3 top tips.
3 top tips. Okay.
Just so otherwise we could turn this into a podcast.
Okay. So I think number 1 would be, don't be extreme. You know, even if you've gone absolutely to ham during the holiday period and, you know, it was a bit of a mess from a nutrition perspective, like, hey, no need to be extreme. Just put a good plan in place and then just focus on being consistent with that moving forwards. Invest in sustainability and consistency. That would be my first one. And then the second one would be, again, this is so broad and generic, but maybe just, again, focus on the process and how you can create good habits rather than, again, like just crash dieting. Like, actually, right, how can you make good food choices? How can you put the focus on health, good fiber, good protein, nice meals? How can you center that nutrition around your training so that you're training productively? I think that would be my second one. And then the third one would be, just train hard. You know, don't let your training go in the gutter. Keep the focus on good, high quality training and keep that focus on performance. And I think that would be it.
Nice. Yeah, I actually think the framing, like post-Christmas, New Year's, doesn't really matter. It's like, how would you start a fat loss phase, essentially? The only additional thing that context gives me, and I don't know if you've had this with clients, Mike, but a lot of my clients, their routine has been so different to usual. Their structure, the type of foods they're eating, their activity. And so a lot of them are feeling worse in their physique and the scale might even be up. But for a number of them, after a week of consistent, typical eating, training, movement, sleep, they're back in where they were. And actually, they haven't seen this like extreme fat gain or anything because their habits and everything and their kind of way of eating was actually good. It's just their body was stressed from all the changes and they just needed a week of normality. So that's the only additional comment I would say to your great tips is, you might not even need to react with a fat loss phase. It might just be you need a week of baseline. And so that's never a bad thing to do, is like just give yourself a week stability. And then if you're still like, hey, no, I did actually gain like maybe 2 or 3 kilos, then okay, right, you can go into a fat loss phase. And that's also fine. Like, we obviously are competitive bodybuilders. We wouldn't want to waste 2 to 3 kilos of fat loss time due to overindulging over Christmas. That's not what we're going to do. We wouldn't do that. It's not worth it to us. It's like not where our values lay. But for your average person, or even someone who's not competitive, it may very well be worth it. For every gimme, there's a gotcha, right? So the gotchas, yeah, you got to spend some time because you overspent and you've created some fat that you need to kind of pay off, as it were. Whereas we maybe lose out on, hey, we had to be a bit more mindful than others might be during this period of time. We didn't drink alcohol. We still trained and kept our expenditure up. It's like, but that to us was worth it. It's not a cost really to us. We're like, nah, I love bodybuilding that much. It's fine. Whereas again, doing this short fat loss phase for someone else might be like, hey, it's worth having overindulged and eaten mince pies and not have to thought about calories. Totally fair.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. The only other additional thought as well that you made me think about is that with people being out of their routine, sometimes it can be a very draining time because you've got all, like, I've spoken to some people where like literally every day they're going to a friend's or a different family member or whatever, and it's like all of these different commitments and people that they've got to see. You never actually just spend time just sitting down, like chilling kind of thing. And it also were brought to mind with a client of mine, Megan. She had a lot of travel over Christmas, but she's also similar to us, where she's also a bit introverted. So she recharges herself by having that quiet time and a bit of downtime to herself. So it's like, don't discount the fact that, hey, where you've maybe not had as much time to really recharge yourself, that could be contributing to just feeling flat, fatigued, and as you said, like maybe just the physique not looking the way that it should do. So I think you were spot on.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great example. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in as always. I should have said this earlier, but if you have questions, best place to ask is the Hypertrophic Time Chamber. It's linked in the description. It is my broadcast group over on Facebook. Don't worry, I don't spam you with loads of crap. I promise. Other than that, we're online coaches. So as we've referenced, lots of our clients ask questions during these. We love helping people lose fat, gain muscle, get into the best shape of their life, step on stage, do a photo shoot, whatever it might be, enjoy their training more, switch off, focus on other things because they're overthinking all of their details of their diet and training. We help people do that you can get a consultation. Actually, I should have said this earlier. Man, we should have started with this. I'm so stupid. I'm frustrated. Mike, we're idiots. We'll have to do this on another episode. Prices are going up. So right now, if you have a consultation, or rather, if you apply during the month of January, you'll lock in at our cheapest rates. If you apply after that, our fees will already be up. Coach Mike over here, Coach Ryan, who mans the Team Revive Stronger page, their rates are going up significantly, I would say. Mine are going up a bit too. So do be aware that, you'll be, if you're thinking about coaching and you're like, oh, it's pricey, it's only going to get more pricey. And that's a reflection of, first of all, just inflation, unfortunately. And then just expanding our services and extra experience and all that good stuff that the coaching has gone through. And so, you can get a consultation. You can apply in the description. And if you're not into a consultation, and actually the consultation fee has gone down to lower the barrier to entry there. Used to be £20, now it's £10 essentially, so half the price. And we also have an option for not doing a consultation where we'll do a video overview of your application. If you're not into a consultation or you don't want to part with any money, and then we'll send you over all the details. So definitely check over the consultation form. That's also been updated if you've ever looked at it. It now has a few more questions and layers and interest there. Anything else, Mike?
No, just remember that, hey, if you were on the fence, now's the time because you're going to be grandfathered in to that lower rate. So if you are ever were curious, now is the time to do it. Just like literally have a chat, or even just let us send a video to you to go through your application and just see if it's for you. Got nothing to lose. Go for it.
What did Nike say?
Do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
One of your lessons. Brilliant. Guy, yeah, what's the worst going to happen, Dr. Pepper? It comes right straight into it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Obviously, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care.
See you later.